Fonzarelli Show.
We were nominated for Orlando's Best Podcast, part of Orlando Weekly, and I want to congratulate the other podcasts. So coming in first, A Mediocre Time with Tom and Dan. No surprise, biggest podcast in Orlando. Also coming in second was Scotch and Good Conversation, and also BYOCB. They came in third. So congratulations to all the other podcasts. Thank you still for the votes. It was great just to be on a list with all those other guys. I've heard them or heard of them. So it was a real honor to be, at that party. Got to take my wife out. We had a fun time. So that was great. We'll get in there next year. But thank you anyway for the votes. At the least, you sent me to a great party. So thank you for that. Anyway, the best way to catch these live broadcasts for now will be to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So let's go with today's show. Big news, and I know, Kevin was excited about this, and I was excited about this too, but it's just in the rumors now. But right now, the Hollywood Reporter is talking about Stephen Daldry is in early talks to direct the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. Now, the deal is, if you haven't caught now, since Disney's purchase of Star Wars from Lucasfilm, now they're going with this format that every December there's going to be a Star Wars movie. So we had The Force Awakens, well received, not perfect, but great. I liked it. Watched it over and over, great movie. Then Rogue One was really good. Right now coming down the road is the Han Solo movie, and that thing's been a little shaky and a little scary because, there was problems with the original director, Phil Lord. There was creative differences because, in my opinion, was Disney probably wanted to just play it safe, and they're very smooth and calculated about this because this is an important franchise, and you can't really mess with that. So my guess, and nothing I know, but like the whole Phil Lord and the other Chris Miller, the original directors, there's probably like a struggle of the directions they wanted. Even Rogue One struggled with some rewrites and stuff. So they pull Ron Howard in, and everybody claps their hands, because the cast was so attached to the movie, they didn't want to see it die. And Ron Howard and even Woody Harrelson is coming out and saying, hey, the Force is with us, everything's in good hands. Reassuring. It's a little concerning, this Han Solo movie, and we've talked about it before. It was like, you're going to take Alden Ehrenreich and you're going to push him off as a young Harrison Ford. It could work because it did work with Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness. The thing is that the difference is that it's a 30-year time span you're presenting with the Obi-Wan and Alec Guinness stuff. So, they're probably just being real careful because this isn't Rogue One where it's like a group of rebels that you've never seen in the untold story. You're delving into an established character. Granted, Darth Vader's easy because you get James Earl Jones, throw a dude in a suit that's 6'5" or whatever. Vader's easy to recreate, but you're recreating an iconic character here. So the results of that and the payoff we're going to see. So now the big news is because, and a lot of fans, they kind of think the same about these things. So, the things that are my thoughts, you see them humming all through Twitter and Facebook. Like with the Obi-Wan movie, the concern was with the Han Solo. Everybody's like, why are they doing this Han Solo movie? Nobody asked for this. It's like Avatar. Nobody asked for 5 Avatar movies. I don't even know what that's all about because I can't even remember what Avatar was about. You're doing this, you're pushing this Han Solo movie and everything's shaky, shaky, shaky. And it's like, why aren't you, and the all fandom cried out loud, why are you not doing the Obi-Wan movie? Ewan McGregor is down. And you say what you want about the prequels, but Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi was fantastic. If you go back to the days of when the first trailers came for the prequels, the first lines out of Ewan McGregor's mouth were, once the droids take over, they'll soon take over you. And everyone's like, whoa, he sounds just like Alec Guinness. And his performance is a tribute of Alec Guinness. And like I said, say what you want about the prequels, but you can make a comparison. Because if you think of Anakin and Hayden Christensen's Anakin, and you can't dump everything on Hayden Christensen. There were some plot flaws with his development into Darth Vader. But you know what? It's okay. We'll accept it, and I'll accept that he was Darth Vader. But Ewan McGregor, I watched Alec Guinness in A New Hope, and you look back and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when you were Ewan McGregor. Like, that connection is definitely there. And plus, it's been about like 10 years since Revenge of the Sith. So he's going to have some natural aging. So the question is yeah, he's going to be an awesome Obi-Wan Kenobi. Where do you go from there? So now the conundrum is this. You got young Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's stranded on Tatooine, and he's going to be, he's watching Luke, and he's protecting Luke. So what can you do and what you can't do? All right, there's no Sith. There can't be like some universe. It's got to be a small scale story on the same notes of Rogue One. So where do you go from this? First things first is the Vader conundrum, because, the first time you look at it, and me being a fan of Clone Wars in the cartoon, they brought Obi-Wan, they brought in Darth Vader, and everybody's like, oh, you could bring them together, you could make these two rematch. And there is the line in A New Hope where Vader reconfronts Obi-Wan, A New Hope, Star Wars Episode 4, when, his first lines are, you never should have come back, old man. So there is the possibility, obviously from an outer context, you could say, you should never have shown your face to the Empire again. That's where you could, you could take that as. You could also take it as they've come together before. They've met again between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Here's the problem with that. There's no way Vader could go to Tatooine and not sense Luke's presence. It's impossible. That can't happen. And there's probably reasons, it's been talked about that the reasons Vader stays away from Tatooine is that, it's memories of his mother and memories of, like, the first sand people he killed, his first, like, stepping foot into the dark side. And also it's Anakin Skywalker that he wants to, rid himself of. So there's that issue. So Vader's not going to Tatooine. The other problem is this. If Obi-Wan goes out to find Vader for some reason and fails at something, how does Obi-Wan get back to Tatooine without being chased or noticed or anything? So really, as much as we'd all like it, we'd love it, I don't see how the Vader thing could happen. So what do you got? You're on Tatooine. What's on Tatooine? You got Jabba the Hutt. Now, Jabba the Hutt, you open up a whole world with Jabba the Hutt, because what you know about Jabba the Hutt is, he's the notorious gangster, was given Han Solo, had that bad luck down. And now that I think about it, maybe Jabba will show up in the Han Solo movie. But you have this leader of this criminal underworld in Tatooine, and maybe, further spanning out in the galaxy. I mean, his access to bounty hunters and stuff. So why not put Obi-Wan in a smaller scale conflict and still have that character development and still expose us to what's going on with him and everything? But, throw Boba Fett in there, throw Jabba the Hutt. Have Obi-Wan somehow get mixed up in some underground thing that's going on. Even if there's some kind of thing where Obi-Wan has to help Jabba the Hutt do something, and he's struggling, and he had, with, being on the, because, the criminal, that kind of stuff might be a little petty to the Jedi. So maybe there's some interest. Maybe there's something that's threatening the Lars homestead, and Obi-Wan cuts a deal with Jabba. Because Jabba's not out looking for Jedi. It's just a thought I have, but definitely something good to look forward to, because this is something, and especially depending how this Han Solo thing is received, is going to predict its trajectory. First of all, Rogue One is what's making these standalone movies happening, because there's episode 7, which was The Force Awakens, Rogue One. Episode 9's coming. We've seen the trailer. Really psyched about that. Really psyched about Luke Skywalker's development and everything. And now we're going to get the Han Solo movie. This one's a little shaky, but Disney hasn't let us down, yet. Even with the big they're handling two giant franchises, Marvel and Star Wars. So I'm thinking we're in good hands now. And just because, there was the same thing with Rogue One. It was like doing rewrites, and, the thing looked a little shaky for a little bit. So, like the Marvel thing, they have not dropped the ball yet. They've had a couple slouchers, but they haven't really had a disaster. But anyway, whether this Han Solo movie does good or bad, that will determine the fate of this Obi-Wan movie. Whether, Rogue One's advantage was to kind of cut the strings and let Gareth Edwards do his thing. So hopefully, what I'm worried about is if the Han Solo movie isn't well received, they have a tight grip on the Obi-Wan movie. And when you have a tight grip, much like the show, the Bunzarelli show, it's like when you're afraid to step out the box, you restrict yourself and you can't grow. So hopefully, what I don't want to see happen, and I'm going in circles here, but I don't want to see the results of the Han Solo movie taking away the creativity from the director of the Obi-Wan movie. And, because I want them to, I like when people are bold and they take risks. And, that's exciting. If you play it safe, everybody in like Force Awakens, that was the big critique of it. It's like, you guys played it safe. It was good, but it could have been great. And, I think from the looks of it, The Last Jedi, just Luke's presence alone, but it looks like they're getting some different visuals and different atmospheres. So, we'll see how things play out. So thanks everybody for listening. A lot of stuff coming down the road, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. And another thing, the way these videos go up on YouTube and stuff is a little like, no rhyme or reason or when I do these live broadcasts. So it's important that you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also subscribe on YouTube. You get instant notifications when I go live. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.